So we did I don't think it was our first user testing, but our user testing for the Octopus 4.0 release, and just wanted to show you some results, some learnings, and what we plan to do next time on it. So this is a photo that was taken in the office. We had more people show up than what we were expecting. We were actually expecting only 2 or 3 people to show up out of the 9 that registered, but we got more. So we were really happy with that. And at the last minute, we asked the guys in the office to actually stay and help out and kind of do one-on-one testing, so they could take the feedback or type in the feedback in the form straight away, so the user could just concentrate on the testing task itself. So a big thank you to the guys for being really flexible and staying at last minute. It was really helpful, and the users were really happy to put faces to the company as well, because they knew some people but they didn't know everyone. So it was really positive feedback from them as well, and a lot of them learnt new things about the application as well, which is good. So the goal for the testing was simply to make sure the users could still do a simple deployment in the 4.0 release, that they could do a multi-tenant deployment, and that they could perform tasks that they regularly do. So that was a success. We did achieve our goal, but we also learnt so much more. We learnt a lot of usability things just by observing the users in the testing session, and also from the videos that were sent in from the remote testers. There was lots of learnings from that as well. So this is just a bit of a diagram of how many users registered as to how many showed up. So we obviously got better turnout for our internal testing in Brisbane than our remote testing. Granted though, we got over 100 testers that registered for the remote testing, and I didn't send out emails to everybody. I was sending them in batches, and we were getting pretty much the same feedback every time. So I kind of just stopped and thought, well, we have enough. So we'll give the people the opportunity to maybe have a look at our beta release later on as well. So the total bugs reported was 25, that's all up. But as you can see, the internal testers reported more. And this is just me going through all of the feedback and kind of saying, yeah, this is a bug, this isn't. And there's also duplicates as well. And the same with the UI and usability feedback. There was about 96 in total. And you can see that we got more from the internal testing than we did the remote, because we were able to observe a lot of things that the users probably wouldn't really tell us either. And this is the spread of these usability feedbacks across each of the pages that we got them to go to and use. So obviously the variable editor has a lot of feedback. The UI as well in general has a lot of feedback. Infrastructure and release pages probably the less, which is nice. So the common themes of the feedback was that the variable editor was unclear. Users had trouble adding a variable to the list, and so we just need to work on that a little bit more as well. The tenant UI wasn't as intuitive to users. Granted, they were some were new to the tenant deployment, so they really had no idea what they were doing. So I guess that was a bit of an insight for us to maybe make it a little bit more intuitive rather than relying on our docs to help our users. For the environment section, we seem to really focus on the scale side of things, and the users with not large infrastructures wanted to see all of their deployment targets not grouped by environment. So we had in the original concepts a page that just showed the deployment targets, and we've brought that back in for our users. The disabled, like where to find to disable a target, was actually kind of confusing for our users, and this is something we weren't expecting at all, but it was a really good insight to show that our wording to show that something is disabled isn't quite clear. The location of it isn't where the user thought it was obvious, and there's no visual indicator to make something look disabled as well. So we're going to work on that. Users commented on lots of errors on the deployment page with no links or solutions to fix it. So we're going to review that. And the advanced filter crowds the data, and their suggestion was to hide it by default rather than showing it by default, which I think we do a mix of. So we need to look at that. Bind and unbind icons didn't really make sense. So we're going to review that. And there were some comments on the colors. The primary action button color blends in with the top navigation, and some people commented that they couldn't find things, and these are the primary action buttons that they should have been looking for. So we're thinking that maybe they blended in too much, so we're looking at making them more of a contrast color. So of all the feedback that we've been given, we've already started working on it, and it's been really useful.
Sorry, Jess, can I just ask a quick question? Back on that graph, were they total feedback numbers? Was that all negative feedback, or was it a mix? Was there positive feedback in amongst it as well? Things that people did like, that really liked and commented on?
Yeah, there was lots of positive feedback as well. I think I included that on my last week's presentation. I didn't include that this week. So this is all suggestions that they would like to see.
Right.
Or what they expected.
Right, so yeah, okay, so this is feedback for things we should look at, right? Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, there was just as much positive feedback as there was useful feedback. So our learnings from the in-person testing was that we got real honest, unique feedback from our testers, and we received more usability feedback. And we think this is because we were able to observe them, talk to them, have a two-way conversation with them. And the testers mentioned a few times that they really enjoyed it and they're happy to do it again. And it was really nice to have this one-on-one testing environment, because it created a lot of excitement and really good rapport with our customers as well. So we're really happy with the results that we got from it. But we were conscious of the time restraint that our users had, like they were coming in on their lunch breaks. So we really wanted to get them seated, get them testing straight away, and there actually wasn't enough time to complete the tasks either. So we could have reviewed the task for the in-house testing as opposed to the remote testing sessions. We did a retrospective yesterday, and as much as we got really good feedback, we also think we could do better on organising the event, and we probably felt that we focused too much on the testing itself and probably not enough on the event planning. So we've got some plans to work on that. For the remote testing, some positives were that we had access to so many more users, 140 something I think registered for it. So that was positive. It was easier to organise and use less resources. I did find that more bugs were found though in the remote testing as opposed to all the usability things that we found in the in-person testing. And it worked really well because we had a permanent instance. If we were testing wireframes or just something that's conceptual, in-person testing would be much better for that. For the remote testing, we were really relying on the user to clearly explain the issue, which we can read into it a little bit as well. And I couldn't always duplicate the issue as well. So, and not all the users recorded their testing sessions either. A lot did. It was probably about a 50-50 split for the recording sessions, and they're on Dropbox. So I'll share the link for that as well. And it's a bit of a challenge. It's a one-way conversation. So we can't ask why, or if it was this way, would that be better? So I think our overall feeling is that in-person testing is much better for us, but remote testing still has a place if we need it.
Okay, so
yes.
Have we considered doing online testing? So with them in like in a Zoom call?
Yeah, we did discuss that yesterday actually. we were discussing secondary testing. So for the variable editor, because we had so much feedback of the usability of it, it'd be worth actually doing some secondary testing on that with the users that we had in-house. So we could just get on a Zoom call, record the session, and that would work as well. So next time there'll be a detailed plan for the session. So we'll either put out a call for volunteers to be Octopus buddies, or if it's part of your team area, then we might just ask you to come along. But the briefings will be done a lot earlier. We'll let you know what the goals are for the testing session, and we will we'll kind of give you a bit of a run through of how to do a testing session with the user. So you're just there to observe and not tell them exactly what to do, that kind of thing. We plan to close the office down for the day of the testing because we did feel that we didn't really have enough time to clean up. So if we close it down on the day and possibly the day before, it gives us time to make sure the office is in order, because we want to present ourselves the best way that we can to our users. And we plan to do these monthly as well to start with. It's a bit like our events. We started with our events and we were a bit not polished. And as we've done them over the year, our event planning and success has been a lot better. So we hope that happens with our testing sessions as well, because we want to provide this platform for you and your teams so you can test features regularly. It doesn't even have to be as a branch. It could just be wireframes that we can run past our users, and it could support our RFCs as well. So we put them out, we get feedback, but we could also talk to them and get them in the office as well and have that two-way conversation.